GingerGM.
Hello and welcome to a long play game. That's a bit interesting, isn't it? What's going on there? Now, place your bets whether I'm facing a cheat or not. Going to be interesting. I'm playing Grimvovich, and you know I've kind of given up on wondering if these guys are cheats or not anymore. You know, I just expect they all are. It's boiling here over in England. Really hot weather, and well, let's hope it's an interesting game. Well, that's interesting. My opponent has gone for a3, and this is a move that I play myself, with the idea of going b4 quickly. Now, there are a number of things that black can do to stop this. I mean, you can grab a pawn, knight c6 or e6, but I think the best way of meeting this b4 idea is just to fianchetto the bishop, because the bishop can take over a very good diagonal. I apologise if I'm dripping in sweat during this. It's I'm in a little office, and with the lights on, it literally is boiling. So it's an interesting one. You get drippy Simon today. Now, I'm just going to maintain my c5 pawn. I don't like accepting sacrifices myself, because I don't like playing into my opponent's hands. So I'm not going to accept any pawns. I'm just going to try to take control of those central squares there. And a couple of things, announcements I'd just like to say while I'm here. Saturday morning in England, I'm doing a stream, so it's my first stream for a while. Well, it's midday tomorrow, British summertime, and I'm taking on the so-called chess patzers from around the world. So it's the first simultaneous that I've actually ever done, and I'm taking on a load of people who will also be streaming in a simultaneous from around the world. So that's a lot of fun. And do remember, if you want to support me, then there's, for probably only another day now, you can buy 21-hour collection of videos that I've done for chess.com, but now you can download them so you can play them on your iPad, stuff like that. It's 21 hours and it's half price. It's only $40 if you follow the link in the description. You know, I have to get these plugs in. I hope you don't mind. Okay, so now I'm just going to continue with my philosophy of trying to control these central squares. So I'm developing my knight, and I mean, you know, the way I play is I don't really look for, you know, attacks until it's justified. So until I have my pieces in the right squares. So before I, you know, think about an attack, I'm going to move my knight and get castled, I think. Let's just play sensible moves. Playing sensible moves is a good way to meet, you know, ideas such as a3. And my opponent now is defending b4 and putting a little bit of pressure on the pawn. So I'm thinking this knight now should come out. Do I ever want to put it on e7? So do I play, for example, I mean, I could play e5, because I know those positions quite well. And then knight e7, and then later on go for f5. But that might be okay. I mean, it does give away a very big square, but I get real control over these two dark squares. Now, it's probably not the best move, this one, because it does block in my bishop, and it does give my opponent this outpost here. But as you've probably seen me talk about before, especially two of these videos ago, you've got to pick setups that you are happy to play. And if you have setups in mind before you're playing your games of chess, and then you have the plans from these setups in mind, it makes your middle game plans a lot easier. I mean, if you've ever struggled to find a middle game plan, this is where you're going wrong. You haven't got easy setups in mind. And I know with this setup, I know a lot of the plans for black. The main one being castles f5. This is the main plan here. And the other one just taking control over these, you know, a bit of control over the center. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to castle and probably go for f5. My opponent going for f4, so that's fine. So, well, I think I will castle now. I don't need to think too much about that. And my opponent should probably castle in this position as well. And then what am I going to do? Well, Yeah, I mean, what you want to get in these positions is f5, f4 in. If you can get this pawn to f4, you get a fantastic. I would even go as far to say positionally winning, structure. So if you can go f5, f4, that's really good. But obviously your opponent should stop you doing that. So after f5, he can even take it. It's one way to try and stop, or he can meet it with f4. So f5, f4. Now, I think I will do that move anyway, because it does give my opponent the possibility of making a mistake here and allowing me to play f4. And if he plays f4, I'd probably have to go f5 at some moment anyway to stop him doing the plan f4, f5, because of course my opponent can do a similar plan to me. This pawn gets here, it gets very dangerous for him. I've got f3, I get a real grip on his king side. He should definitely not allow that to occur. Now I think f4 is probably the best move here to stop that. I mean, if he takes on f5, what do I capture with? Interesting question. I'm not sure. Each capture has some valid point. Well, maybe not bishop takes, because I drop on b7. After pawn takes pawn and rook takes b7. I would probably want to play pawn takes. So he has taken this. The more I look at this, the more this looks very sensible. I probably want to go pawn takes now. I mean, trying to get my knight to d4, this square, makes sense. Trying to put a knight there, that's also quite logical, because if it gets there, I can maybe come into this square, stuff like that. So, I mean, the thing with pawn takes, it does block my bishop, and he can stop me probably going f4 there by playing d3. If I go pawn takes f4, I do have e4 there, and that would block this bishop on g2 in, making his pieces worse. So I don't think he should allow that. But pawn takes, the only move I'm sort of concerned about there is d3, where he's going to try to stop me playing f4 and get a grip on that square. Now I have a very interesting idea. I can take here and go d5, and then I get 3 pawns. So maybe I should play with my pawns here. I feel like I should. I feel in this position I should play with my pawns, because they have good potential. I mean, if I can get another pawn to d5, this pawn here, I've got this real strong leverage of pawns coming up the board. So this to me does actually make quite a lot of sense here. And the point is, I think he'd like to go f4. This kind of move that he'd like to play when he can try to undermine the pawns by attacking these two guys. But if he goes f4, I will play e4. He's played it. That surprises me. Surprises me, because I thought e4 would be a very good reply for me now. Blocking his bishop, getting ready to go d5. I mean, here if he takes some, I mean this looks very pleasant for me. This. So I think I'm not going to think about this too much. I'm just going to go e4, because I've killed this bishop now. I mean, that bishop on g2 is often a good piece, and you've always got to try to think about killing your opponent's pieces. And I also have ideas. If I get 2 more moves in, that pawn gets to d4. I've got a real strong armada of pawns coming through the position at the moment. So again, do remember, guys, I'm streaming tomorrow, 12 o'clock British summertime. And if you want to support me and you want to get 21 hours of videos, go and click the link in the description. There are loads of my videos there that should help you become a better player. Okay, so now he's trying to undermine my pawns. And of course, when you have a standoff like this between the pawns, and you get this probably in every game of chess, you've got to think of the right way. So what should you be thinking of when someone has contact, pawn versus pawn contact? Well, you've got to think of all the scenarios. You've got to think, does taking the pawn help me or not? Well, let's have a think about that. Taking the pawn, I just don't like, because I unleash his bishop, and this pawn looks very good to me on e4. So I'm gonna rule out taking. I don't need to consider that. So the other move you can often think of is pushing on. No, that doesn't work because I lose a pawn. So then, therefore, I've got to try to consolidate this pawn here. So I could go d5 now, And if he wins a pawn on c5, go d4. And that looks very interesting. Knight b5 though, and he has this d6 square that he might try to come into. So the safe way of playing is to take on b4 first, and then go d5, because I won't be losing material there. So that is the safe way to play, and that's probably the way I'm going to pick, because you know there's no real way to, I mean, I don't like exchanging pawns, you know, unless there's a really good reason to do so. So that's why I want to play d5. But after pawn takes here, I can't see a good move for me. Here, pawn takes here. Because if d4, he goes knight b5, and that knight has a good potential to come in here. And his rook opens up. So I think I will have to take here first. So let's do this. So I'm going to take here first. And now I'm going to go d5. So I'm trying to use my center. Central pawns can be very strong in middle game situations. So that's what I'm trying to achieve here. Just using my center. If you can get a mobile center, it can be often worth a pawn, even a piece, in a number of a number of occasions. So I mean, one idea, just to play this d4 move, makes a lot of sense here. I mean, if he goes b5 here, that looks the most natural move. I'd probably put my knight on d4. Probably. But I don't know. Do I want to swap these knights off? These knights look a little bit cumbersome as well. So if he does go here, it's a pity my knight doesn't have any other good squares. I mean, I could go knight a5 and play like that, with the idea then of playing d4 soon. I mean, I think a good plan for my opponent would be something like pawn on and bishop a3, trying to get this bishop on a good diagonal. Again, before real tactics work, you've got to really position your pieces and pawns in anticipation for the shifting sands. I mean, his position's not too bad. I mean, okay, well that to me, I'm very happy to see that. That's my first instinct. Again, it's a change of pawn structure. It's like what I just said. When a pawn structure changes, you have to reassess. Why do I like that move? Because immediately it takes a lot of the sting out of the position. I have a passed pawn here. There's no dynamics left. The position, the pawns have now become locked, so we don't have to worry about any tactical things. But he has a big problem on c4. That's a lovely outpost for my pieces. He has a problem on the c file, so I can straight away think about doing this. His bishops are both going to be quite bad now, because I don't see either of them finding a good square, and this pawn is weak, so I don't like his last move. If he ever goes pawn here now, my knight can come into c4. You see, this is some square it couldn't come to before. So I think I don't need to do anything stupid here for the time being, except to develop. So bishop e6, get my last piece into the game. Not a particularly great piece, this one, but later on I can try to put it on h5 and maybe eliminate on e2, just to get rid of that piece, which is the reason it's a bad piece. Is if you have pawns on one colour square, your bishop, if it's behind those pawns, which it is here, it's behind those pawns, it can be a bad piece because your own pawns block it in. You see here, light square pawns, light square bishop, bishop behind those pawns, it doesn't have much range, has nothing to attack. On the other hand, this bishop does. It has a nice pawn there to attack. So, I mean, to improve my position. So I think the problem my opponent has here is it's quite hard for him now to think of a plan. You know, as well as thinking of your own plans all the time, try to think what you're scared of your opponent doing so you can aim to stop them. I mean, one thing you normally try doing these positions when you're fighting against a protected passed pawn, the best thing to do is put your knight in front of that. So, you know, my opponent would kind of like to do something along knight d1, knight e3, some defensive maneuver. But he's going to have to move his queen. He's going to have to go queen e1, knight d1, knight here, and hopefully in the time it takes him to do that, I can raise some problems for him. Other things I can aim to do here, well, like I say, I really like the c4 square, so I can think about getting a knight there. And one way I can do that is knight c8, knight d6, knight here. Now my opponent's gone another way with the knight, And of course, the first thing you always think of when your opponent plays a move is where is that piece going? And of course, he'd love to get his knight in there, so I'm not even going to think about my next move. Chess is about restraining your opponent's ideas, pushing your own. If I go b6, which I'm going to play, I've surely restrained that knight. That knight is now looking pretty stupid. It has nowhere to go. So this is really important. A lot of beginners would not play b6. They'd be thinking about their own plans. But this b6 move is just very simple. Look at your opponent's last move. What's he trying to do? Stop him doing it. You know, you're restraining your opponent, and I'm still going to continue with my own ideas. Maybe I will put my knight on d6 and then into c4, nice square. Maybe I will go rook c8 and start pressurizing this backwards pawn he has on c2. Other things you can even do, I could even go at Harry 5, trying to do something over there. Okay, so my opponent is aiming to play this move. This is the move that he's relying on, b5, trying to get the play. But my knight can always come here, so I'm not worried about that. Now, rook c8, normal. Should I even consider now putting my bishop on this square? Normal. I mean, I suppose my opponent always has c3 now to defend. I don't go here, of course. It lets his knight in. I don't want to let that knight in. I mean, I think rook c8 looks very normal to me. I mean, even queen d7. Queen d7 looks good to me. You know, get the queen lining up against this for some tactical ideas, just connect my rooks. But the reason I'm not rushing to go queen d7 is I'm thinking my queen at some point might be good over here. But maybe I don't need. Okay, I'm going to go rook c8. I'm just improving my position slowly and naturally. I put my rook on a half open file. Half open, I have no pawns there. My opponent has a pawn there. Chess is all about improving your pieces, waiting for the opportunity to come. And at some point, I'm hoping my rook will come in. So he has gone c3, as kind of expected, really. Now, this square I really want to get a knight to. So, should I go for this long maneuver? Rook here, knight d6, knight here. Very slow. Or do I have to start another area of attack? Maybe this idea, putting this one here. Or should I keep looking at improving my pieces? I like the idea of improving my pieces. I like the idea of putting my bishop on h5. Because my bishop is useless. Let's improve it. I don't need to... It's a closed position. What I mean by closed position is that the pawns are locked. So you don't have to watch out for pawn breaks so much. And when that is the case, it's you have time to do more slow maneuvers. So I'm thinking my bishop over here is an improved piece. It even gives me opportunities, you know, of pressurizing that, or you know, sometimes coming into the position. So I'm just going to improve my pieces one by one at the moment. I think this makes perfect sense. So bishop h5. Let's do that first. I might even then move my rook somewhere because I don't like that rook lined up against the bishop. You know, if there's no rush, I will do. My opponent's knight on a4 at the moment is very bad. The knight on e2 is bad. The bishop on g2 is bad. I'd say this bishop on a3 is pretty good because it has potential, but it's not great either. So I think if I just keep improving, I'm looking for any pawn breaks as well. I've got to watch out for c4, b5 and g4. You know, always look out for your opponent's pawn breaks. But at the moment, all those moves to me look pretty bad. Okay, so let's continue. This queen here, in my eyes, hasn't improved his position. Or do I even go h5, h4 first? And then put my bishop here so I can start another attack here. Maybe. Okay, so what I'm going to do, and this is quite I mean, I don't think my opponent's doing anything yet. So I'm going to go king h8. I think that could be quite useful. Because, first of all, I did mention my rook. Okay, so he's coming in with his knight to this square. That's a good plan. I did mention my rook wants to get out of the way at that. So, do we do that now and then go for h5? So he's come up with a good plan. That's a good maneuver. Knight here, knight here. Okay. So, maybe I should have been finding some squares. Maybe this move wasn't really the way to play it. Well, I think I'm going to continue with this. I'm going to see, because this idea of putting my pawn here at least gives me some distinctive ideas. I think. I mean, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe I've been drifting a little bit here. Just got to watch out for c4 as well. I don't want him playing the c4 move at all, do I? I mean, when his knight gets to e3, should I even play b5? Should I be playing b5? Because then his knight is a long way from this square. That's another thing to consider. But I think rather than going here now, I will put my pawn on h5, because another good thing about this, I'm clamping down on g4, and I'm very tempted when he goes knight e3 only then to go b5, because okay, he's going for a totally blocked plan now. He's going totally blocked. So this is kind of like, he gives himself a weakness, but he has now a great outpost. If he can go, his plan, I mean, I know these positions, is king h2, knight g1, knight h3, knight into this square here. If he gets that, it's a bit annoying. So he's going for a totally blocking structure. Now, this bishop is in the way, I think. So I'm going to move it to f6. That's quite handy. It guards here, and maybe I can sack on this square later on. But I'm more aiming just to open up the rook, because I want to have a little bit of pressure against g3 that stops this knight from moving. h4 is a very committal move. When you make pawn moves, you often weaken squares. I mean, it might be a good idea, but it's very committal. Now, I'm going to play this move, because now that his knight is a long way from c5, I'm just going to say, right, you can't move any of your pawns now. Your bishop has now become bad. Yes, the position, the danger here is I've made it very blocked, giving more drawing opportunities. But I still think I have chances to play, you know, play this position on quite safely. I mean, he has a weakness here. He has a potential weakness here. I still have one pawn break later on, a5. My opponent has no pawn break. So later on, if I find it very, if I find it very hard to break, open a position up, I do at least have this to stop it being a draw. My opponent wants to get a knight here, but if he moves the knight here, he needs to get a knight to b3. This is the only way. But this knight can't move because of g3. This knight has to now, if it wants to get there, come a long way around. c2, here, here, here. It takes 4 moves. So I think my strategy is so far okay. Not sure it's the best strategy, but it's okay. Maybe I put my bishop back on e6 now. Okay, so my opponent is defending g3. Remember, always think what your opponent's doing. Why is he doing that? I think it's pretty clear, so his knight can move. This must be the idea. Now I still need to maneuver my pieces around better. I mean, I've got tactical ideas. Knight g6, knight takes here. But f5 is dropping in a lot of positions. So if bishop here, knight here, let's just have a look. I want to double up on the g file, I feel now. This looks quite good. So what about if I go bishop e6, knight here, rook here, knight b3. Maybe I just have to move this. I mean, I think I need to be able to move this one. So my bishop's not coming to h5 anymore. So let's start with this one. This just over defends f5, and it makes this knight movable. Whether I'm either going to go this way and try to get my knight here, so I go c8, d6 here, or if I'm going to go this way and try to sacrifice on h4. Now, if knight g6, knight takes h4 doesn't work, my knight, of course, is just looking very stupid on g6. So this is the tactical idea. And I kind of feel like I like this idea, but I'd like to have 2 rooks on the g file. So maybe I should be going rook g7, move the queen, rook g8. Maybe I should be going rook g7, queen g8, and trying to bust through like that. I've still got a lot of ideas here, a lot of ideas in this position. And my opponent has no pawn breaks. This is what I'm trying to do. This is really a restraining game. I have more ideas than my opponent. My opponent can't break with a pawn. So he can't break with a pawn. My opponent can only think about getting his knights to better squares. Which squares does he want to get these knights to? This square here or this square here? So as long as I watch out for those maneuvers of him getting a knight. So now he's clearly trying to get a knight to this square. And if he's able to get a knight to g5, his position becomes absolutely okay. He could even be better. So I've got to be aware of this maneuver. I've got to try to stop that maneuver. So I'm now thinking knight g6 makes sense. So knight g6, knight g1, knight takes h4, pawn takes, bishop takes h4, attacking the queen. My bishop comes into this square with check, and I have an attack. So that looks tempting. Before he gets his knight around. If he gets his knight around, then he could even be better. Okay, I'm going to go knight g6. I'm going to go for this because I can't, you know, there is a bit of urgency. If his knight, if he has free moves, he is better. Now, I don't even know if this sacrifice is good if he goes knight g1, but I'm going by instinct that I get 2 pawns and I get a bit of an attack. So I think it's certainly going to be dangerous. So I want to stop his knight g1 move. The other thing I do want to do is something with this piece now. So where does this piece want to go? I mean, moving it to e7 looks pretty pointless. Where's it going next? But I could go knight b8, knight d7, knight b6, knight here or here, one of these 2 squares. Even putting the knight here is not so bad. Pressure against his backwards pawn. And the reason I want to move that knight is also open up my rook, which you can see is now quite nicely placed. But the most important thing is to stop his knight getting here. If he gets his knight to this square, then, you know, I mean, I don't have many chances then. I feel like I'm running out of opportunities. So so I've got to try to stop this one. So does not, okay, let's have a look. Knight g1. Am I going to, I have to sack, I feel. Knight takes here, pawn takes, bishop takes pawn, attacking his queen. His queen moves, d1, bishop g3 check, king h1. And then if I move my queen into check, he goes knight h3. And how is this position? Interesting. I mean, probably then I try to move this knight to g6 to attack f4 because he's got a weak pawn on f4. Or I could just double up on the g file. I think it's good sacrifice. I'm going to go my gut instinct and think that, you know, I don't even need to calculate. I mean, I'm not, you know, sometimes I'm not even a very deep calculator. Okay, my opponent also feels the same. Hence why he's over preparing against that maneuver. Okay. So he's trying to stop all of my ideas here, isn't he? Now, what if I do it anyway? What if I take here now? Is he going to go king g1? Looks risky for him to do that. Because I have knight f3 check. So king takes, pawn takes, bishop takes. Let's see what happens if he takes it first. Queen moves. And his knight's very good then. It defends here. So we don't want to do that yet. Okay, what I'm going to do, it's all about, I don't want this knight to maneuver. I don't want this knight to maneuver. So how can I stop that? Well, if I go queen c7, if he goes knight g1 now, I go knight takes f4. So I swap. So knight g1, I then take on f4. Pawn takes, queen takes f4, check. And you'll have to play something like king to this square, which I just don't believe there's going to be a mate there with my bishop lined up. And the other thing about this queen is that now when I move this knight, I could even try to put this knight on h6. How about that? Because if I put this knight on h6, it can try and come in here. And I'm attacking this pawn. That's the other thing I was going to say. So knight here, he defends this pawn. Rook c1. Knight here, knight here, knight here, knight here, check. And I'm still, he gets his knight around. Double up. Rook here, knight here, rook here, knight h3. Knight takes here, pawn takes. This is a fantastic piece. That's what I said. This piece is fantastic. Time's a little bit low as well. Knight here, 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 here. So knight here, knight here, knight here, knight here, knight here, Knight in. He gets it in. I don't know. I don't like it when he comes in. I mean, I can take it. It's okay. Pawn takes. So then maybe come here. That's okay. Do I want my knight come in here or here? This is okay. I think I like knight b8 actually. The more I was thinking about this, I think I want to get my knight to this square. Okay, I'm going to go for this one. I'm going to go here. I'm trying to get my knight first of all to b6, and then probably into here to get rid of this knight. So this is what I'm going to go for. Now, how does he defend this pawn? If he goes, he probably should just go rook c1. So rook c1, let's just have a look at rook g7 idea again, because that's the kind of move I want to play. Rook g7, knight g1, rook g8, knight h3, knight takes here, pawn takes here, and I don't have any way through. Okay, well he's come for a little annoying move there, where he's attacking this pawn. But that also means his knight can't come there. I'm now just going to move my knight back to e7 because it kind of did its job there. My knight on e7 made him go rook h1, and I also tempted him to put his bishop here. And I don't think either of these moves are very desirable moves for my opponent. So even though it looks like I've lost a bit of a tempo, I think I've gained more than my opponent. So I think my knight coming back is absolutely fine. So I think now I have two good plans. Get my knight here to c4 or a4, or increasing the pressure with the doubling of the rooks against g3, because again I'm trying to play a bit of a paralysis game. I'm trying to stop his knight coming around. So I like, now that his knight takes longer, I'm really thinking maybe even g6 is better. I don't know. So the queen has potential to come over. I'm not sure. But let's have a look. Rook here, knight g1, rook here, bishop g2, then I can really think about sacking here. So yes, let's just do this. Let's do this. Simple plan. Simple plan. Now he could try now to get some counterplay on this area of the board, but I don't believe it. I can always just play a6. So the first thing I'm going to do, I mean, I don't know if this kind of position is necessarily should be winning for me or anything like that. It might just be a draw because it's so blocked, but I think my chances are always slightly preferable, because he has weaknesses I can attack. These weaknesses. I also have a bit more space with the pawn here. So it's certainly slightly preferable, this position for me. And I know if I can get my knight, I mean my pieces are they seem to be gelling a lot more than my opponent. Okay, so now his knight can't get around. So I think I'm going to get my knight to here or here. Let's do that. Okay, knight here. Because his knight, I've stopped his knight coming to g5. There's too many pieces in the way. I mean, he should probably go rook here now and try to get some play over there. Rook here, knight b6, rook a5. Where's that going? Okay, so he's moving it this way now. Forgot about that way, didn't I? Funny how the... I should have gone... You know what I should have played last move? I should have played rook g8. Because then with his knight here, I would have had rook bishop takes h4. So that was a slip on my part, because he's gonna get his knight into this position now, which is annoying. So can I now just go for some attack here? Well, knight b6, knight here. I mean, his knight becomes very good here. I mean, I can always take it, but then his position certainly improves. So that was a little slip there. I'm a bit annoyed that, you know, things were going so well, and I've allowed him. So maybe, no, I can't move that knight, can I? Because of the f5 pawn. Right. So knight here, knight b6, knight c4. Knight gets to, his knight gets this beautiful square on c5 then. Which I don't like. a5 takes, queen takes, is that time? Well, then this becomes weak. So I think when his knight comes here, I just have to take it off, don't I? So what about knight here, knight here, knight here, knight here, knight takes knight. Now if pawn takes, I think I'm alright on d4 moves. And if pawn takes a5, okay, I'm going to do this. Let's do this. Okay, I've got to move a bit quicker. So I'm going to put my knight here. And the idea is to take this one. So I should have stopped that maneuver. That was certainly a mistake on my part. But now we're going to have a change of pawn structure. And I'm either going to get a pawn to here, which I'm going to do now, or I had that pawn. But I think my advantage has dissipated somewhat. And I've also missed this bloody move. I'm playing... slip. A slip from me. Because that pawn is quite annoying to lose. Frustrating. Should have spotted that one. Now, bishop takes here is something I really want to set up. But I can't get it at the moment because this pawn. Rook here. Okay. Takes here, bishop. Okay, let's go for it. I'm going to go for it now. So it's time to stop with these positional considerations. Maybe I was trying to be okay. I'm just trying to set up. Maybe I could have played that last move even. I didn't even consider playing it then. This is what I'm going for now. I'm going to have to stop messing about and play for some tactics here. I mean, if he takes here, his queen's on the other side of the board, so I'm certainly going to go here and try to come into f4. If he takes here, I'm going to go rook h7. And hopefully, after queen e2, I have some good move there. Like rook takes g3 is the first move I'm thinking, but nope, that doesn't work. Bishop takes here, pawn takes, check, king h1, rook takes h4, or queen takes h4. Looks dangerous for him, so okay. But yeah, I mean, my big mistake was I got a little bit transfixed on his knight coming to g5, and I forgot about this knight c5 idea, which as soon as he played it really helped him out. So my big error was not playing rook g8 earlier, which would have stopped knight c1 because the bishop takes h4 and tactics over here. So I could have kept him really bottled up, and now really this is anyone's game. Okay, so he's defending. He's defending this one. Now, of course, this is an annoying one to deal with. Now, if he takes here, I have rook b8 now. And I win the bishop. So I can just guard this with something like rook here. Let's do it. You know, because now I have rook b8 if he takes my pawn here. So I have time to coordinate a bit better. Maybe queen c6, maybe rook b8, and just try to get a passed pawn. b4. Maybe I play b4 straight away. I get a passed pawn on that area of the board. I want to be a little bit careful about opening up files for his pieces to come around on, but I don't need to worry about that yet. His knight, such a great piece here. So I don't feel I should be better now. Not with his knight here doing this fantastic job of holding up the position. I feel he should be doing okay. Right, so he's gone here. And now I can certainly consider this one. Takes, bishop takes d4. Let's do it. I like this move. I like this move. I wanted to play this move anyway. And if I can take this pawn, I have potential to move my d pawn later, which will just win the game. So this move looks good, and I think he should come back, but now I've gained some tempo. I mean, I could again take here and try to make d4 weak. Or this rook, is it really doing much there? Nope, so I could bring it to the b file. Let's bring it to the b file. Get that to a better file. Because my rook might want to come to b4. Or b3 later on. I can take on c3, put my rook on b3. I mean, something I'd really like to do is play knight c6 to hit this one. Okay. Any threat? No. But if I go knight c6, this pawn drops, yeah? I can't allow that. So. It's a little bit annoying. Queen here, I drop this pawn. But then I have takes, bishop takes, knight here, rook a4. I'm just wondering if I can get my bishop somewhere like here, get it in a position like that. But he's always got this annoying pressure against this pawn. What about bishop takes here now? Pawn takes, queen takes, check. King h1. Doesn't seem like I've got enough there, does it? Where am I trying to hit here? So takes, rook here. He takes here. But then I do leave this very weak. Okay, I'm going to go for this. This might just be a mistake, but I'm going to sack this pawn in the hope. This is stupid. This is really, really stupid. I mean, I'm doing this, but I'm totally forgetting that my rook's in a crazy place to get this to work, because I need to be able to double rooks here, and he hasn't taken my pawn, which of course he shouldn't have done. And this is now looking a bit, this is really silly decision by me. Why did I do this? It's silly. Okay. Now takes here and he sacks. Very bad decision. Very bad. Okay, I'm going to come here. But now queen a4. Oh, I've got bishop d7 then. Okay, so can I get a bishop takes h4 in? I really now feel that I need to play this move. I think I'm going to play this move, whatever. This is good now. Bishop takes h4, because his pieces are moved away. The one danger I have, if I play slowly, I'm going to let his pieces, I mentioned before, come around the back. And with my rook here, that is going to be travesty. So I need to play bishop takes h4. Has to play this move. Oh, he's going to come in here though. Okay, let's keep going. So I'm going to keep playing tactically. And the idea is to play rook g7, queen takes f4. Get my queen and my rook into the position. Even the most positional games will get tactical at some moment. You have to remember that. Even the quietest of games become tactical. And that is the case here. My opponent's best defense is probably king takes, check, and then something like bishop g4. I would have thought it's quite sensible. Okay, he's come back, so my queen can now come in. He takes my bishop then. But my king, whose king is in more danger? We have to find out. So takes here, my knight defends the back rank. Strange position. This is really complex for the time as well. Queen here, here. I can take the knight, but I just feel that I don't like that. Should be winning somehow. Take the knight, he comes in here maybe. Too slow, is it? I'm going to go here. He hasn't got any checks, and if king here, I have rook g7. It's very complex. Maybe king here, it's better to play my bishop somewhere. So I have a dual threat of queen g3 and rook here. Because if I play rook g7 straight away, he has queen h6, and it's got very tactical all of a sudden, just like that. It's gone bang. Tactics. I can even go f5, f4. So I really feel that my attack is good. Wow, what the hell is that? Well, I think he just crumbled. I think he literally just crumbled there, but maybe his position was lost. Wow, interesting. Okay, thank you for the game there. Clearly wasn't a cheat, so I'll take all that back. And that was a good game. I enjoyed that one. I want to have a look just at the computer, just at the end there. I'm not going to go through the whole game because it's quite positional. But at the end there, I just want to see what the computer says briefly. So let's just quickly get this set up. just to see if he was, I think, you know, how the finish was. So we're just going to go, how do we do this? Okay, let me just show you the computer assessment. We'll put that over here somewhere. I'll just have a quick look at the end, yeah? So let's have a look. And I just want to look at right at the end. Okay, so this position here, I kind of thought that, well, it is giving rook takes b1, queen takes b1, and now bishop takes h4. And here he defended very badly. He actually still thinks white's maybe better here, which I find very hard to believe, but it's possible. But after the natural queen b6, this next tactic, this is actually the losing move, because here is winning. Now I thought he should have taken and put something on g4 here. I thought this might be a way to hold on, you know, something like bishop g4 as the computer gives. And well, h4, very nice move. h4, lovely move, because my queen comes in. That is indeed the winning move. And at the end, after king h1, well, queen takes f4, queen takes e6. Did I play the best move here? Well, the computer actually just gives queen takes e3 as completely winning. So I didn't. Queen h4, and this should be winning anyway. Yeah, it's winning, but by a decent margin. King g2, I certainly wouldn't have paid my queen back now. I mean, I was thinking about moving this bishop, but maybe he can defend. I was also thinking about moving the rook here. Okay, interesting game. Right, anyway, that's the end of that. Thank you all for tuning in to this long play game. And do remember, if you want to support me and you want to help yourself as well, because these are quality videos, go and buy yourself this course. There's only about another day of that being on at 50% off. There is a link in the description. Click on the link, go and buy it. Please do. It will help me and hopefully it'll help you. Thank you very much. I'm also streaming tomorrow at 12 o'clock, simultaneous, first time ever. So I hope to see you there for that simul. Goodbye for now.